I have loved shooting with my iPhone, but there's a big problem. Whenever I want to film myself or take a selfie, I get stuck. There's no selfie screen on the back of my phone, so I default to using the front-facing camera. It has fewer lens options, worse stabilization, and way less creative control than the rear cameras do. That gap between what my rear cameras can do and what I can actually use for selfies and vlogs, that's exactly what Insta360 Snap is designed to close. So let's talk about what this is and how to set it up, because there's one setting you definitely have to change on your phone to access all of the Snap's features. So the Insta360 Snap is a 3.5-inch touchscreen that attaches to the back of your phone, magnetically if you have a MagSafe iPhone, or with the included magnetic ring for Android and non-MagSafe devices. It connects via USB-C, and it mirrors your phone's screen in real time, and it gives you a live preview of exactly what your rear cameras are seeing. There are two versions. There's the base Snap at $79.99 and the Snap with Light at $89.99. The Light version is what I have, and it adds a built-in fill light that's co-developed with a beauty tech brand called Amiro. We'll get into both models, but one thing is worth calling out immediately. There is no battery in this thing. It draws power directly from your phone, which means there's nothing to charge, nothing to pair, and nothing to forget when you head out the door. So the Insta360 Snap touchscreen mirrors your phone's full interface, so you can tap to focus, adjust exposure, switch between your lenses, and control your camera entirely from the Snap screen without flipping your phone around at all. The screen itself is crisp and responsive. Insta360 claims 30 milliseconds of latency on the feed, and in real-world use, it feels essentially instantaneous. One thing I really like about the Snap is that it comes with this soft case here, and so it does have a little magnetic piece to store the cable when it's not being used, and it also pulls double duty where it is protecting the screen of the Snap. But when you are wanting to use it on your phone, you can also fold it over on the touchscreen side of your phone to prevent you from accidentally tapping any parts of the touchscreen. Now, before we get into the Lite Edition and who this product is for, let's take a quick break and talk about today's video sponsor, Cannoli. And yes, I know, a juicer in a camera video. But stick with me because I actually filmed the next few segments using the Insta360 Snap on my phone, so you can see it in action while I tell you all about this juicer. This is the Cannoli C16. It's a 3-in-1 cold press juicer, and it has become a real part of my health routine alongside my fitness trackers. What I love about cold pressed juice in particular is that it generates minimal heat during the juicing process, which means it preserves more of the vitamins, enzymes, and antioxidants in whatever you're putting through it. It also extracts more liquid from leafy greens and vegetables than a standard juicer, which matters a lot to me because I love a good green juice. The C16 has a 6-inch wide feed chute, so you can put whole apples, full celery stalks, and big chunks of ginger straight in. There's no chopping, no prep work. The motor runs at 35 decibels, which is pretty quiet. If you've ever used a centrifugal juicer, this is a completely different experience.
I love it.
You love
it? I love it.
Cleanup is fast too. The latch pops open in seconds, and the parts come apart easily, and most of them are dishwasher safe. I'm done cleaning it before my morning coffee is done brewing. And the 3-in-1 part is real. Beyond the cold-pressed juice, it can also make nut milk and frozen fruit sorbet using different strainer attachments. I love a kitchen appliance that pulls multiple duties without taking up extra counter space. The Cannoli C16 is linked in the description below. Let's get back into the review. Now let's go over the setup. It's relatively simple, but like I mentioned earlier, there are a couple of settings that you want to change to get the most out of it. So you start by attaching the Snap to the back of your phone and plugging in the USB-C cable. Your camera screen will mirror to the Snap immediately. But if you notice that the touchscreen isn't responding, there's one more step you have to do, and this is very specific to iPhone users. You go into Settings, then Accessibility, and then you enable Zoom. Once that's done, the Snap touchscreen is fully active. For Android, the touchscreen functionality kicks in automatically once the screen mirroring is approved. The other setting that I would toggle on an iPhone is turning on the volume up for bursts. You find this in settings under camera. It lets you use the physical volume up button to start and stop recording or take a photo, which is really useful when the Snap is on the back of your phone. The Snap itself has 4 buttons. There's a power button that turns the unit on and off. Next to that is the mirror button. You just press once to flip the image, or hold for 3 seconds to switch aspect ratios. On the bottom, you have the light buttons. So one turns the fill light on, and pressing it again cycles through the 5 brightness levels. Hold it for up to 3 seconds to turn the light off. And next to that is the color temperature button. While the light is on, press it to cycle between cool, warm, and natural. And that's genuinely it. Like most products, there are some friction points because nothing is perfect. So first of all, the USB-C cable is always going to be slightly in the way. That's just the trade-off for zero lag and no battery dependency and having an ultra-thin little screen with you. Second, if you want to plug in something else into your USB-C port on your phone, like a wireless microphone receiver, you can't do that while the Snap is attached. So another limitation to using the Snap is that it's taking up your MagSafe attachment. So I normally attach my phone via MagSafe as like a mount, but in this case, I'm having to use these old clamp style phone mounts to attach it to my tripod here. But hey, it works out. Look at that. Third, the Snap draws power from your phone, so battery drain is faster during extended shoots. For short sessions, it's not really an issue, but if you're planning to shoot for a long period of time, you might want to keep a battery charger handy. Now for me personally, none of these are deal breakers, but I want you to go in with the full information. So who actually needs this? I would say there are 3 types of people in particular. First of all, vloggers and content creators who shoot on their phone and want to level up their self-filming without buying a whole new camera. Also, travel creators and lifestyle shooters who want a lightweight kit. This thing is pocketable and it requires no extra batteries, and it already works with the apps that you've been using on your phone. It's genuinely the most low-friction way I've found to use my rear cameras on myself. And third, anyone who's been frustrated by how limited the front camera feels compared to everything else that their phone can do. If you've ever filmed a vlog and thought, this just doesn't look as good as my other footage on my phone, that's probably why. And something like this can help you fix that. The Insta360 Snap starts at $80 for the base model and $90 for the light edition. I'll link both in the description below. Given what you're getting, rear camera access, a responsive touchscreen, and 0 setup friction, I think the value is genuinely strong for creators at any level. If you found this video helpful, hit that subscribe button. I test out a lot of creator gear in this channel, and I always give you the honest take. And let me know in the comments, are you a front camera or rear camera shooter on your phone?